team leader or the preliminary judge for Calendar C. As a preliminary judge, I have supervisory responsibility for 3 trial judges and a post-decree judge. And what happened was, when I first came from traffic court, I was one of the trial judges on Calendar C. And I have a lot of energy. And I, as a trial judge, there was not enough work for me. So I was always consulting my preliminary judge at the time to give me more work.
Okay.
And I would try to take her work.
Okay.
Because I love the law, and I have always loved the law, so that I want to continue to get better at it personally. And the only way I can do that is by having additional hearings, having pre-trials, just really immersing myself in the law. So what happened was the preliminary judge got transferred to another division, and Judge Timothy Evans was our preliminary judge in domestic relations at the time. So he had to make a selection, and fortunately he selected me. And I've been the preliminary judge for a little over 11 years now.
So if I have it correct, you review cases and you pass them off.
That's correct. What I do is I handle all post-decree matters. I handle the case from the initial filing up until when I decide it's ready to go to trial. Now, I also do something that's a little unusual, and it's because I like to work. I will hear 5 or 6 cases personally a year. And I believe, and in fact I know, I'm the only preliminary judge that does that, because it takes a lot of time to try a case. But what I try to do, and it saves people money and effort and time, and it helps to heal the family, I try to settle these cases, because
before they go to trial?
Before they go to trial.
Okay.
Because a trial of a case really tears the family apart. A divorce does that, but when you have lawyers, and these lawyers do a great job, but it becomes really, really adversarial at that point, so that it might be a bad custody battle, or a battle over assets. If parties can come to a resolution regarding the children, then we only have a division of assets or liabilities. And I try to make people understand that your children are your children, and they are priceless. You can fight about your property, you can fight about your assets, but you should never fight about your children.
Right.
Because they love each parent. The parents themselves may not love each other, but the children love both of you equally. So what you want to do is what's in that child's best interest. And I try to sit down with the parties through their attorneys and make them understand that. I always give a little, we have court-mandated mediation when there's a custody or visitation issue. And in my speech, I always give a speech on every Wednesday to the parties, and I try to get them to understand that it's better for them to resolve those issues regarding custody and visitation than to allow me or any other judge to make a determination of what's in your child's best interest. Because we don't really know your children, and we hate to see your children in our courtrooms. Our courtrooms are for adults, they're not for children.
Right.
So I try to encourage them, because I ask them this question: who's in a better position to determine what's in the best interest of your child, you or me? And everyone always says, we are.
Right.
I said, well, why would you give me the power to make the determination of what I feel is in that child's best interest? And the problem that you have is, once I make that decision, it's done. It's too late. It becomes a judicial order, and you must follow my judicial order. It might be something you say, well, that's wrong for my child. It's too late. So I encourage people to resolve your issues between yourselves. Don't let me or any other judge take that power. That power is yours. So what I do is I take a lot of time pre-trying cases and trying to encourage people to work out the solutions, because there's something to work out there. You have to be an adult. You cannot allow your petty grievances to impact your child. Look at it from the child's point of view. What's important for that child? Because I tell them sometimes it's more important for that child to be with mom rather than dad, or dad rather than mom. And you have to be the bigger adult and say, well, okay, that's what's right for my child at this point in time. And let them go over to that parent. So because I spend so much time doing that, because I start between 7:30 every morning, my court call starts.
Right.
And I try to do that because I have a backload. I have a total case load of about 1,600 cases. And I try to give as much time as needed to every case. Now, I don't hear that many cases a day, of course, but
Right.
my case range from a low of, say, 35 to as high as 127 cases in a day. And I give a lot of myself to these cases. So what happens a lot of times is I've put so much of my effort in the case, the lawyers will ask me, would you keep the case for trial? Because you know the case, you know the parties, you know what's going on. If we go to a trial judge, it'll take us another week or so to get that trial judge up to speed to where you are now.
Right.
And like I say, because of my heavy call, I can only do it 5 or 6 times a year, but